Hi friends, I am Chittaluri SN. Today I am gonna explain the lesson Jamaican fragment. It is a lesson beautifully explain, explains about human rights. In the face it already you might have learned what are human rights. Here in your textbook one picture is given with a line that says, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And under below this picture, three questions are asked. They go on like this. What does this statement speak about? What is the statement here? All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. What does this statement speak about? That is a question posed to the students. Yes. What would be your answer for this? This statement speaks about all human beings, every individual on the earth, in our nation or anywhere, any country, who were born, they were all born free and equal. They are born free and equal in what? In dignity and rights. Every individual in the society has a dignity, and also they will have their rights to lead their life happily in this society. Which means there will not be any differences, no discrimination at all amongst them. All are equal by birth. All are born free and equal. All are eligible to have their own dignity and to utilize their rights in the society. That is what the meaning of this statement given here in the face sheet. Second question goes on like this. Do you agree or disagree to the statement? Justify. Yes, this is the statement here. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Do I agree to this statement? If you agree, justify. This is a question. Then what would be your answer for this? Yes, I agree this statement. If anybody asks me, simply I'll say that. Yes, I'll agree to this statement. Because every individual on this earth, they were all born equal. They are all equal comparing to anybody there. Nobody is great, nobody is mean. Everybody equal. Everybody will have their dignity and rights to live on this earth. Why should be a discrimination amongst them? Because all human beings are equal. The same manner, all human beings are born on this earth. There is no discrimination at all. There is no difference at all in their birth. And all are human beings. All human beings are considered the same beings on the earth. That is the reason here. Everybody should maintain equality, and everybody should be given the same rights to live on this earth. In this manner, I would like to justify this statement here. Okay? And third question goes to like this. It goes on. Have you ever witnessed any incidents in contrast to the above statement? Tell your class. Yes. If you ever witnessed any incidents in contrast to the above statement, the statement explains as all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Do you find any contrast to the statement in your society, in your living area? That meaning, do you observe any difference, any inequality among the public, among the people? If such thing is there, tell your class. He suggested. Yes, in our society somewhere, coming to our country, coming to our society, a little bit of discrimination, particularly caste discrimination, is observed. Bygone days, it used to be more and more, but the people have been educated a lot, and everybody has educated to some extent. Because of that, definitely that might open the higher horizon of knowledge of the people. So by and by, people might have come to know that all human beings are equal in this society. That's why comparing to bygone days, nowadays a little bit of discrimination still may be observed. So what is that contrast you observed in your notice? You are supposed to explain. You are supposed to tell your class. That is a question remains here. Okay, and also here, basing on this picture, an oral discourse, a topic can be given to the students, that is, children should not have equal dignity and rights as adults. Children should not have equal dignity and rights as adults. This is the topic. Are the children to be given equal dignity and rights as adults, or should there be any discrimination between adults and children? That is a debate. If the debate, this topic is given for the debate there, so children are supposed to have their children are supposed to tell their opinions on this statement. In fact, to say that no discrimination is encouraged between children and adults also, even to have equal dignity and rights. There should not be any discrimination. Children are also considered citizens of this nation. Adults also considered the citizens of this nation. Every individual on this earth is considered a human being who are born in this nation. So why should they have discrimination in having equal dignities, equal dignity and rights? So to find out, to extract this opinion from the students, this can be given as a topic for them in the course of their debate. So this is about face sheet, friends. Thank you. In my next class, I'm going to explain reading A, which is with the title Jamaican Fragment. I come up with that lesson explanation in my next class. Until then, bye-bye. Your Chittaluri SN. Hi friends, I am your Chittaluri SN. Today I am going to explain reading A in 10th class, 8th unit. The title for reading A is Jamaican Fragment. So what does it mean? What is a Jamaican fragment? Before that, you should know what is the meaning of a fragment here. Fragment means a piece of area. A piece of area. Some piece of area. Jamaican. This is a place belongs to a country, Jamaica, in the world. In the region, it's a fragment of Jamaican. It's a place of Jamaican where something happened. What happened? That is beautifully explained in this lesson, reading a 10th class with the title Jamaican Fragment. The author of this lesson is Arthur Lemery Hendricks. He was a Jamaican poet, writer, and broadcasting director known as Mickey Hendricks in his broadcasting career. He was born in 1922 in Kingston, Jamaica, to a Jamaican father and a French mother. He was particularly well known for his contributions to the Christian Science Monitor, the Daily Cleaner, and BAM. He also contributed as a columnist and literary critic to the Daily Gleaner. He died in 1992 at the age of 69. This is about the author Arthur Hendricks. He has written this lesson. Actually, he has written the story out of his own life experience, and that was given for 10th class students. So let us find out what is the lesson and what is the author's experience, what he wanted to explain through this lesson for us. Let us find out. So before that, certain glossary has been given here behind your lesson. We are better have a view of a glossary here. Please look at the glossary here. Under the heading of glossary here, a few words have been given here. First one is be flanked by. What is the meaning of be flanked by? To have something on one or both sides. To have something on one or both sides. Next, sturdy. Sturdy means strong and healthy. Strong and healthy. Next one is hazel. Hazel means reddish, greenish brown. Reddish or greenish brown. Next, at once beck and call. At once beck and call is an idiom. What does it mean? Be ready to do what someone asks. You should be ready to do what someone asks. If anybody asks you anything there, you must be very ready to to follow their instructions. That is called at once beck and call. Beck and call is an idiom in English language. Right? Next one is divine. What's the meaning of divine? Find out something by guessing. Divine in the sense, finding something by guessing. Next, imperiously. Imperiously means haughtily. Haughtily. Next, shuffle. Walked by dragging one's feet slowly along. Walked by dragging one's feet slowly along. By dragging your feet, if you go on walking, that's called shuffling, right? Next one is bidding. Bidding in the sense ordering. Next one, stride. To walk with long steps. Striding in the sense to walk with long steps. Next one, abjectly. Completely without pride. Abjectly in the sense completely without pride. Next, impute. Claim that someone has done something unjustly. That is impute. So these are the meanings. Meanings are very, very important in students' life. Before going through the lesson, you are better learn the meaning of hard words. That will facilitate your understanding level of your lesson. So friends, remember this. And now I am going to the lesson Jamaican fragment here. First I give my reading. Just you listen to me. Later I'll explain. Okay. Every day I walk a half mile from my home to the time called lines in the morning and from the lines to my home in the evening. The walk is pleasant. The road on either side is flanked by red and green roofed bungalows, green lawns and gardens. The exercise is good for me, and now and then I learn something from a little incident. One morning, about halfway between my front gate and the tram track, I noticed two little boys playing in the garden of the more modest cottages. They were both very little boys. One was 4 years old, perhaps, the other 5. The bigger of the two was a sturdy youngster, very dark, with a mat of coarse hair on his head and coal black eyes. He was definitely a little Jamaican, a strong little Jamaican. The other little fellow was smaller but also sturdy. He was white with hazel eyes and light brown hair. Both were dressed in blue shirts and khaki pants. They wore no shoes and their feet were muddy. They were not conscious of my standing there watching them. They played on. The game, if it could be called a game, was not elaborate. The little white boy strode imperiously up and down and every now and then shouted imperiously at his bigger playmate. The little brown boy shuffled along quietly behind him and did what he was told. So this is the first paragraph of this reading A in 10th class lesson, Jamaican fragment. Is it clear, friends? I hope it is very clear to you. Coming to the explanation of this lesson. So here author is explaining, author put his experience in the form of a story in this lesson. And he says that every day author walks half mile from his home to the tramcar lines in the morning and from the lines to his home in the evening. So there are tramcar lines. Is there? Tramcar is generally traveling purpose. It is a tramcar. On the road itself, tramcar lines will be there. And tramcar, with the help of the tramcar, people will be traveling. So the tramcar is there in front of somebody's house. There it is a road on the road while every day he is walking. Other might have observed this from his home, when he started from his home, and after completion of his walking, when he is reaching his home also, just he would be watching tramcar lines in the morning as well as in the evening also. The walk is, he says, the walk is very pleasant to him. And also he says that the road on either side is flanked by red and green roofed bungalows, green lawns and gardens. How was the road? He says that the road is flanked by either sides of the road. That particular road is flanked by red and green roofed bungalows and green lawns and gardens. And also he says, the exercise is good for me and now and then I learn something from a little incident. He says, the exercise, going on his walk and observing, noticing the road, observing those red and green roof from bungalows and green lawns, gardens. This sort of exercise in his walking, what he was observing at the time is really, he says, it is a good exercise for him. He feels, and also he says that he learns. Okay, friends. Sorry for the interruption. I'll continue my lesson here, my explanation about Jamaican fragment. So, as I already told you that this exercise, this walking exercise, is a good one to the author. That's what he feels, and also in his walking exercise. And also he says he learned something from a little incident. One little incident happened there. That's what he had observed. So he feels about it like this. One morning, about halfway between my front gate and the tram track, I noticed two little boys playing in the garden of the more modest cottages. So while he was crossing the road there, while he was, the particular morning when he was about halfway between his front gate and the tram track, just then he had observed two little boys who were playing in the garden of the more modest cottages. They are more modest cottages, beautiful cottages are there. So nearby those cottages, he had observed two little boys were playing. They were playing in the garden there. They were both very little boys. One was 4 years old, perhaps the other 5. And also he says that they were very little boys. And he guesses that one was 4 years old, and also he guesses the other have 5 years old. Other may have 5 years, and first boy was 4 years old. The other 5 years old. Their ages are like that. And also he says the bigger of the two was a sturdy youngster. The bigger of the two. Between these two boys, one boy is looking bigger. The bigger boy was a sturdy youngster. He is looking somewhat tougher, and he is looking somewhat strong and healthy also. He is looking strong and healthy. Sturdy youngster in the means he was strong and healthy. And also very dark in the sense of his color complexion may be black. That is what he has told here. He was very dark, with a mat of coarse hair on his head, and his hair is on his head. A mat of coarse hair he has. A mat of coarse hair is there. And also he has coal black eyes. His eyes are coal black eyes he has. That's what he says. He was definitely a little Jamaican, a strong little Jamaican. By looking at the physique of that, by looking at the physical features of the boy, he says that definitely the boy must be a Jamaican. A strong little Jamaican he must be. That's what author says his opinion about that little boy. The other little fellow was smaller but also sturdy. He was white. The other little boy was also sturdy. He was also looking very strong and healthy. But he was white in complexion. His color of skin is white. He is looking almost like a white boy. Okay, one can easily guess that that boy might belong to white people. That's what his idea in his mind, I think. So he was white in complexion. And also with the hazel eyes and light brown hair. He has eyes, somewhat shining eyes, a light brown hair he has. Light brown hair. Hi friends, as you all know that I was explaining earlier about the physical complexion of the two little boys in this lesson, Jamaican fragment. Here the author in his observation what he says, just he guessed, he was explaining about the other little boy's physique here. He says he was smaller but also sturdy and he was white. Other little boy was smaller than this first little boy, and he was also sturdy. He was also looking very strong and healthy, and he was white in complexion. His color of skin is white. He is white in color, comparing to the other boy who was looking very dark. This boy was looking white in color. That's what author says here in the course of his observation. And also this little boy has hazel eyes and light brown hair. Okay. And he says, the author says, he is saying that both were dressed in blue shirts and khaki pants. Both the boys were dressed in blue shirts and khaki colored pants. They wore no shoes and their feet were muddy. And how are they? They wore new shoes. Their shoes were looking so new. but their feet were no, sorry, there were no shoes, and even they don't have shoes at all. That is the reason, as they don't have the shoes here, they don't have shoes, their feet were looking so muddy. Okay, they are looking stained, so they might be stained shoes because of no shoes. Their feet were very muddy. They were not conscious of my standing there watching them. They played on. And also others, he is saying that they were not conscious of his standing there. Other was standing there, and also he was watching little boys playing and all like that. But other says that the little boys were not conscious of his standing there. They don't bother about his standing there. Means they did not even observe this other as he was standing there and also observing their play. Completely they were immersed in their playing. So they were not conscious of others standing there. And also they were not conscious of others watching them also. They don't know that the other is watching their play and all like that. So without conscious of others standing and watching, they played on. They were playing simply there on their own. The game, if it could be called a game, was not elaborate. And also he says that the two small children were playing there, no. That's a game. Again they were playing, other opinions, but also he says that it was not elaborate. If I say simply game, it was not elaborate, it was not complete. A little thing that I might have told, it seems to be. It seems to have been told a little thing by me. That's what he feels that. It is. It could be called a game. As they were playing, it could be called a game simply, but it was not elaborate in meaning sense. That's what he says. The little white boy strode imperiously up and down, and every now and then shouted imperiously at his bigger playmate. Oh, what was their play here? What those two children were playing here? What they were playing here? So here, how the game between two boys was going on here. That's what he is saying to us. The author is saying, what he says, the little white boy strode imperiously up and down. The little white boy was haughtily, with a dignity, just he was striding, walking with a stature of dignity. The little boy was walking up and down. And every now and then shouted imperiously at his bigger playmate, roughly, and somewhat a little bit as if he was shouting with a little bit of anger, a little bit of scorn on his face. He was shouting imperiously, haughtily. He was shouting at his bigger playmate, means at his bigger little boy. He was shouting. Who was that? The little white boy was striding imperiously up and down, here to there to here. He was striding imperiously, walking imperiously, and every now and then he was shouting at his bigger playmate. He was shouting at a bigger boy there. Okay. The little brown boy shuffled along quietly behind him and did what he was told. And what was the role of little brown boy here? The little brown boy was shuffle. Here already I told you that. What is the meaning of shuffle? The word. Walked by dragging one's feet slowly along. The boy was walking as if he was dragging his feet slowly along the road. So he was shuffling along the road quietly behind him where he was walking. He was shuffling along quietly behind the little white boy and did what he was told. And what this little brown boy was told by this little white boy, he is doing all those things. And as if the little white boy must be giving the orders to this little brown boy, bigger boy, and bigger boy was walking behind him, behind the little white boy, and also whatever that white boy was telling him, white boy was ordering him, he was doing. Okay, so this is what happening between those two boys in the course of their play. This is what author observer, and that's what he told us in this paragraphs of this lesson. Okay.